Looks like it. Let's see. All right, looks good, sounds good. So we are live and on the air. Thank you everyone for joining us. It is a, sorry, I had to mute something so I wasn't talking into my ear. It is a Wednesday afternoon, and we are here mainly to provide support or answer any questions for our products and services. If you'd like to partake in that, feel free to jump over to foolishtechshow.com or foolishit.com/live. Be more than happy to have you join our chat and even direct us in some manners. But otherwise, if we don't have any of that, we'll spend the time discussing random news and events that have come across that might be of interest to those out there listening. So thanks everyone, and yeah, before we get into it, how's everyone doing?
Doing good.
That's good. That's good.
Awesome today.
Excellent. Excellent. So we want to start off here first with a little service announcement. We had a show yesterday, but we're not going to post it because there's not really a lot of content that would be relevant to others to benefit from, and not to say that we are just ignoring it or are brushing it off, but we feel that it's in best interest of both sides. So we do have some points that we want to reiterate from yesterday's show and do make it on a show that we can post here, so we can just make sure that information is out there and available, and show that we have been thinking about and discussing these points and trying to work towards better solutions for everyone. But mainly it's a lot about just giving you kind of current status updates and things of that nature. So to start off, one of the points that was noted most off was the lack of updates on our products. And basically what we want to clear the air here is that just because the products aren't being actively updated constantly with the frequency that they were before, doesn't mean that we're not working on them diligently. It means that we're actually taking more time to ensure that they're fully functional updates and not just released because we're finished coding on them and think it's a good idea. This is an important point to us because a large number of people now depend on our products for their daily lives and security of their systems, and releasing code without testing it and making sure that it doesn't have any problems is very important. I mean, if we release an update to a product and that destroys your entire workday, you've just lost out on a whole lot of money from something that could have been easily avoided possibly. So
our software is used by businesses, and so it's not something, and we take that seriously. You know, and they use it to profit, and you know, it would be irresponsible, I feel, and I'm sure you can all agree on that point, to release code without you know, being vetted. And we can't have live vetting of code that is as critical as D7.2 is to our community.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of that happened with D7.2. Updates were coming out very rapidly without you know, thorough testing, and then would create problems that would have to be addressed immediatly, and more updates would have to come out in a short period of time to fix those updates. You know, trying to learn from past mistakes and to do, you know, to put out better code the first time going forward in the future.
Well, and also since that time, we have over 1 million users that are using CryptoPrevent to actively prevent their computers from getting infected in ransomware, and that's the project that I've been working on. And I've been taking it very seriously and trying to make sure that everything is done.
And it does receive updates regularly, by the way. If somebody is concerned that we're just sitting back and doing nothing, I think that completely ignores the progress and the work that Brantley has done with the releases. In fact, they've come more quickly recently as we're getting towards the end, and you can see the progress in that, and the additional features too. So, very important things I think to keep in mind that sometimes is overlooked when we discuss just D7. 2 and D7X. That is our flagship product, and I understand we do need to give that just as much attention, but we have to support our entire community of users, not just any particular group. So.
And Jay Chamberlain, we'll come back to your question here. We got a couple more things that we want to discuss first, and then we'll jump into that one. So, although that does sound very interesting, and we might have something on that as well. But it's also, I feel, important to note that both Nick and I are completely self-taught coders, and being that you learn more as you code and the further you go along. Nick has experienced that several times in his updates and many changes that he makes to his code, that he'll go back and find out that there was way better ways, or something wasn't quite being done right and things had to be fully rewritten to be able to accomplish that. And that part is kind of where we're at with all three of our main products, CryptoPrevent, Kill 'em all, or CryptoPrevent, D7.2, and DSupport Suite. Is we've gotten to a point with those that they've, prior to this, been kind of small projects that have just been built up over time, and now they're to a point where adding new features and adding things like debugging code to make it easier to support and provide answers when things don't work is a lot more difficult, without actually just going back and rewriting everything from scratch with those thoughts in mind. So that's basically where we've been at with those. CryptoPrevent, I can tell you, I've gone through every line of code that was in version 7 and rewritten it so that it's in version 8, and made sure everything functions and works as expected, and even added additional features. But just to give you an example of that, the reason why it's taken over almost exactly a year so far of me doing this is I've done over 24,000 lines of code. That is a lot of typing. That's not word count or anything like that. That's each line of code that could have several hundreds of characters in it at a time. So quite a bit of work goes into that, and it is quite a process to undertake. And as comparison, D7X, which was announced and started prior to that, has a lot more code. CryptoPrevent was actually our simplest project to rewrite and start off with, and D7.2 or D7X code includes the basis for D7.2, DSupport Suite, most of the internal modules of D7.2, such as defunct, kill 'em all, internal Windows item viewers like the Windows updates, the event viewers. Tons and tons of code is behind that, and Nick has been diligently working on that, and he doesn't have an estimate to give me on lines of code, but not that it really matters, because I've seen the several thousands of lines of code in each modules that he's working on, and he has several of the modules already done. Michael can even attest to the one particular module that he helped out on recently that had hundreds of methods and subs in it. So
yeah, I mean, and the lines that I touched were and added there just for debugging purposes totaled 3,500 lines roughly, give or take, and that was just a tiny project, a tiny thing that needed to be done, and there's a bunch of those tasks involved. So
and
yeah. I can attest.
CryptoPrevent has not really been given priority as our main product. Nick has. That's why I actually took it over, is because Nick had no time to do D7 Xcode and CryptoPrevent, and the amount of stuff he's already done on D7 Xcode has been far more than I've even done with CryptoPrevent. But CryptoPrevent does have a little bit more spotlight right now because I actually have something that we can get out to people and have them beta testing and things like that. The D7 Xcode is still just the base of that code, which once he's completed with that, it'll be far easier to update the products because it'll just be interface design at that point. So the D7.2 and D7 or D support suite updates will come fairly quickly after he's completed that portion. One thing we're not going to do though is be like, hey, we're done with the D7 Xcode base and we're working on the interface. We're just going to start working on the interface after that's done, and then once it's ready, we'll give it out as a beta or something to that effect. So, and it is important to note that we have been updating products. Kill 'em all has been updated, and it's based off of the D7X code base that Nick has been working on. Quick Hash has been updated, and Michael actually has a version that he's working on, and it's going to bring a lot of nice features to it. CryptoPrevent, as mentioned, is currently in beta testing, and very
anybody wants to see, now I can show it off if anyone wants to.
You could fix your camera, but we're not ready to show that off yet.
Okay.
And also, it's good to note too that we are still coming out with definition updates for CryptoPrevent, which also plays into defunct, and we've been maintaining the default apps and even adding new apps for D7.2. So we are still actively updating those products and working on them. So past that, though, we feel like this wasn't mentioned specifically, but
you just changed volume considerably. What just happened there?
I don't know, but you just redid your thing, so maybe that was it.
Sounds good.
Okay. So this wasn't mentioned specifically, but we feel it probably is related to that lack of updates, and it's the fact of D7.2 being a subscription product. We understand that some people do have issues with subscriptions versus just one-time purchases, but we feel it works better for our customers and us in this method. It provides us with the ability to provide updates when we're ready for them. So all of the work that we're doing on D7X and the future DSS upgrade will be included for people that have a current subscription. D support suite we'll talk a little bit more about in just a second, but past that, it also provides the ability for us to provide support. We provide support without any additional charge for email, forums, phone, and we also feel like we provide a highly specific and personalized touch to those support options that we provide. So those take up a lot of time to be able to give each customer their full individual attention and make sure that their problems and issues are resolved to the best of our abilities. So that does take a lot. Then also
we also help a lot of customers with setting up third-party apps that we may not include in D7.2, but that they need help with as well.
Yeah, and we feel that this is a much better route to take than the alternative route, which would be the single purchase and then charging for support. You get a lot more flack and kickback from that. I mean, take Microsoft, for example. They currently sell Windows as a single-time purchase, and then they charge an outrageous amount for any support. Like, you can't call Microsoft up and get them to help you with your Windows problem. You'll end up being outsourced to a vendor or something to that effect. If you don't, then you're going to be charged a extremely outrageous amount per hour for that support. And that, we feel like that causes more problems both for us and the client than it would for providing the support at no charge for everyone. So past that point, just want to make sure, double clear that if you have a current active D7.2 subscription, that you will get the D7X updates at no additional charge, and will continue to receive updates past that point. So where our prices might change, you'll keep that same subscription, because we like to take care of customers that have been with us long time. So yeah, Michael, your microphone. Told you about that.
Oh,
The next on that is the dSupport Suite update, and this product is probably the one that's gone the longest without updates right now. It really started off as a few different projects combined into one, and it was done kind of as a still simple system, but otherwise the main features of it are being a digital business card with the ability to give end users quick fixes, providing automated maintenance and event log, and system health monitoring. So that's the primary focus of that, and we know that a lot of RMM tools will do these same processes. The differences here is that most every one of those RMM tools is a subscription service, first off, so you're going to be paying indefinitely for that. Second off, it's usually a ton more features than you're ever going to take advantage of. So dSupport Suite is really there to fill that niche of people that just need the basics of an RMM tool and don't really need the full-on RMM tool. We've all worked with RMM tools in the past, and I would say out of all the tools that I've ever worked with, I'd say probably only 20% of the features that I was paying for I actually was using. And I haven't seen many scenarios where that hasn't been a common case, unless they're absolutely focused on only providing remote monitoring management. Then they use a little bit more of the features. But most of your people that are paying for those subscriptions and using them are really not taking much advantage of all the features. Plus, it's a lot more complicated to get into and use. On that point, though,
and normally with those RMM tools, you're paying the subscription for each device that you use it on. Where with dSupport Suite, it's a one-time purchase, and you can install it on as many computers as you like.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's a great value for what you get.
Well, at least we feel it's a great value. Right? It's opinionated, but I would think it's a great value if I was looking on the outside in. So past that, though, we do feel like dSupport Suite is a little bit clunky, I guess you could say, as far as getting set up and using it. But really, once you know what it's doing, it kind of all makes sense and works just as expected. We actually have several customers that support several hundred people with just dSupport Suite. So that, I feel, says something about that product, and in its current form. But for the DSS update, to really make everything easier and make it flow nicer and add additional features, that's another product that really basically has to be rewritten from the ground up to make that achievable. And in that process, we're going to be including CryptoPrevent protections and management, as well as a number of other features that have been suggested to us or we've come up with over the time that it hasn't had an update. And all of that code is going to be based off of the D7X code base. So it's all going to work a lot nicer and have all the features that Nick is diligently working on even as we speak. But also that means that it has to wait on CryptoPrevent and D7X code base to be completed before we can even start to work on that update. So those two products will, I believe once the D7X code base is completed, we'll probably be working on DSS and D7.2 getting updates at the same time. So those will probably be about the same release points. But that's pretty much where we are on that one, and it's going to make things a lot better and overall good. And again, if you currently have DSS, you're going to receive those features at no additional charge, where we've discussed and haven't, we're going to finalize once we get to the point of that the CryptoPrevent features of management and deployment and things of that nature could be ended up as a add-on subscription option. So if you currently have D-Support Suite or you purchase it prior to us getting to that point, you'll get those features. So that makes it an even better deal right now. So I think that's enough on that one. Last point we want to get into is this, which is communication. Phoenix, I don't want to call that out, but basically I do want to just mention that that's actually based on the original D7 code and has very limited features compared to DSS. So last thing we want to point out is probably the most surprising thing that was brought up to us yesterday, which is our communication. It was claimed that we don't communicate with people, and that we feel is extremely surprising, especially considering what you're watching right now. This is like, I have not seen any company that provides this level of support and care, and we are definitely not here to be YouTube stars. We're not doing this to even make money off AdSense of the videos. We don't do any AdSense on that. We are here mainly to provide support and answer any questions, and an alternative, interesting way to contact the team that's developing the products that you're using directly and work with us. Basically, all of the time that we spend here, we have gotten a lot of good feedback on, and a lot of good content, and people appreciate the show. There's been a couple that have downed us for it, but honestly,
hey, listen, everybody, just like channels on a conventional television, if you're a cable subscriber, there's a whole bunch of channels. If you don't like it, you don't have to, you can flip away. We would love for you to stay, but we are sometimes focused, and if our focus doesn't meet your needs, certainly we'll love the suggestion if you want to ask us to potentially change it. But you know, we want to, we're trying to shoot for our target audience, and that may not be you, but we want to engage as well. So drop us a line. We won't know if you don't if you don't keep in touch like that. And you know, and we need to put it in context too sometimes, who you are as well. You know, particularly in the chat if it's, you know, anonymous.
And basically, we've received enough good feedback on it and have enough viewers that we feel like it is worth the time that we're taking to do this and offer this opportunity. And we've benefited from it, from hearing directly from users that might not have heard from us otherwise either. So plus it also gives us all a chance to discuss new things that are coming out and things that we need to be aware of, and just in general of the tech community, it's good to know kind of stuff. So past that point, though, we
also get an idea of what, you know, especially with ransomware being as evolved as it is, having a discussion about how particular our tools are doing against it is also very important, you know, to us. And ransomware research is becoming an increasingly large part of what we do, and those things change. So it does require a lot of work. I know we've talked about that, and that's all related to a lot of crypto prevent stuff. But we really would have wished somebody else would have taken on that mantle and provided something better, a better solution for that. And please let us know if somebody does come up with something like that, because we have yet to see it. So
yeah. Past that, though, we do offer email support, forum support, although it was mentioned on the show yesterday that we had missed a forum post. However, that user also had filed a email ticket and was answered in there.
Yeah, so the guy got his answer, but it's also important to note in the forum that that was the general chat forum, which is not monitored. It doesn't generate a ticket in our queue. The other forums that are labeled support do generate tickets in our queue.
Yeah.
The general chat is not for support or questions. It's really like a talk amongst yourselves kind of thing. I just wanted to throw that in there, Bradley.
No, definitely. Thank you for that. And we also do offer phone support even. That one is a little bit more limited on what we can do there, but we do have that as an option. So several methods of communication are available for us, and unfortunately we can't monitor external sites for communication. So if you have something you need to tell us or an opinion you want to express to us, please use one of our support options. We really wouldn't even have the time and staff to be able to monitor all the external communication options there are out there. But we do try to do some of them. So if it's one that's branded for us, then we are monitoring it and providing support, and those things should not be going unanswered. And if they are, feel free to let us know or contact us by a different mean and let us know you contacted us this other way and didn't get an answer. Be more than happy to adjust that and work on things going forward. Like the general chat thing, like Nick mentioned, we didn't know people were using that to ask support questions, and we weren't getting tickets for it, but now we will be monitoring it going forward. So.
One more point too on communications, just involving the IRC. So we generally monitor we absolutely monitor the IRC during the show, of course. As you guys know, I mean, we display it in the video stream, and we engage back and forth, and that's when you'll find the majority of us in here. There's a few of us who remain logged in, and I suppose we should change our status, or whatever, to something to indicate that we're not here. But we generally don't monitor it when it's not that time. But I have started to leave it open so that we can see if we missed a question, if somebody happened to come in after we ended the show one day. And so it's important, I think, to leave it open. And I'll try to do better on, like I said, updating the status to indicate if we're not here. But the better means to reach us with a question after the show is through one of those other methods that Brantley discussed, particularly the email and getting it logged in our ticket system, and anything on our site. Those ways will not go unanswered. So help us, but if you have any other suggestions on that, let me know. I personally am not into chat.
Michael, stop. Nick, go ahead.
Gosh, yeah, you just topic to topic to topic. What you were talking about a second ago about the IRC, and we do leave it open, and Brantley actually grabs those questions. I mean, generally, no, we're not monitoring that in real time all day. But you didn't mention, I will point out that Brantley, almost always, when he sees a message like that, he will repeat the question and give an answer on the air for the next show.
Yeah, we don't. We do that. I don't know. I'm hoping those people who asked the question would come back. That's not always the case, though.
Some of them didn't even know that there's a show. Although I don't know how they got to the IRC completely missing the rest.
That would be strange, wouldn't it?
Shows that there's a live show that goes with it, but neither here nor there.
And don't we have? Doesn't something come up which shows the show hours at the intro when they log in?
I usually try to set the time for the topic, but again, the only way you know about that is if you've gone through foolishtechshow.com, which that entire page is focused on our live show and how to what the times are and everything.
Oh yeah, Mike points out an automated bot. Maybe we could maybe we can set up an autoresponder in.
Did you have it in the MOTD? Apparently.
Yeah.
I'm so far back.
Well, it's the topic, so that's what the topic is. I could go back and add the MOTD on the main thing, but most people don't see that.
Oh, thanks, Phoenix. That's a good link about
NSA
hacking. I had some questions
Michael,
about that.
Stop.
Figure out how to use it, wherever they found it.
Past that, I do have just two more things that I want to mention here. Oh, Beavis set the topic.
Thank you, Beavis. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that shows that I set the topic. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, last thing I want to point out is that one of the other complaints yesterday was that apparently a ball had gotten dropped or lost in transition or something to that effect. And really, we went through a lot of changes over the past 2 years now. And the time that it was going from using emails and an inbox and one person handling all of that, Nick, has gone to now a actual ticket system and customer relation management system where we can track and use those things appropriately. And also time was spent on making that transition, which things could have gotten lost in there. Time has been spent on training, at first Michael and I, and then us to train the rest of the staff has been spent there, which things could have gotten lost during those times. But really all of this wants to wrap up into the point that we feel like we have the staff that's capable and has been capable for the past months to respond to everything that we get and assist in any way possible. So just also to note that we're not overloaded with support questions about our products being broken, because if they were, then we would be making active changes or finding fixes for it and making those people aware of those. However,
I wouldn't be talking about a lot of random stuff on the show most days either.
Yeah, because we don't come a lot of most D7.2, D-Support Suite, and Crypto Prevent, as they all currently stand, work in almost every situation that you'll want to use them in. If it doesn't, then we'll be more than happy to look into it and find out why and make changes if needed. But past that, a lot of our time is spent on working with other questions like sales questions, sales demo, training people on products, setting up accounts, and various things like that. So that's where a large portion of it goes. And again, that takes on that personalized touch and individual focus that we give them. If someone wants to see a demo of our product, then we make sure we focus on them for 30 minutes to an hour to show them the full capabilities and learn how it can work best for their situation specifically. So just to throw that out there. And lastly, I probably want to say we could go off and say that with any small business, things are going to get lost in time. I mean, that happens not even with just small businesses, but all the way up to corporate levels of massive corporations, that things get lost. That's just human nature, but we're not using that as an excuse. We don't want that to happen, and we try in every way possible to make sure that that is not the case. But really, if something like that does happen, we sincerely apologize about it, and we just ask that you communicate with us further and relay that to us. I mean, if you're frustrated with it and didn't get an answer, feel free to let us know that even. I mean, just communicating with us will make it easier for us to assist you going forward. So anyway, thank you, Thermos and Phoenix and Mike Invise and Rover Desk.
As always, we appreciate it.
And all that stuff, and you guys are the ones that we're here for. And like I said, not directed at y'all, but not bad information for you to know.
Goes wild.
Yeah, we actually, that's probably what makes us look forward to this time every day, is the fact that y'all are here and appreciate what we're doing for you and appreciate the support it provides, as well as just the general random info, because I know Phoenix especially likes it and also provides it even. So we very much appreciate each and every one of you for joining us and the content that you bring to it as well. So, all right, so rant off / rant, whatever. Let's look at Jay Chamberlain's question that he had, and sorry if I missed anything else in there, but feel free to throw it back in the chat again. But Jay Chamberlain, I did notice, said they are running Kaseya as one of their programs, and they're trying to deploy D7.2 with that, and they're running into the problem of it not running. It will show up in the taskbar for a few, but never starts the process. Well, first off, I guess, what are you trying to do, or
launching it over the network?
Well, I guess that's the question, is how are you trying to deploy it and how are you trying to use it at that point? Because really D7.2 is not meant for remote management deployments like that.
Yeah, and we have something that can be pushed down to the individual computers and run to set up D7 in a D7.2 in a consistent manner. But it's maybe not what you were doing, or it involves using the SFX.
Yeah. So the idea and key behind that, though, is that if a person needs D7 on their computer, then a technician should be working with that computer. You don't want to just have D7 laying around on a bunch of users' computers. It can destroy things if you have no idea what you're doing, and end users could easily get in that predicament, which would therefore cause you more time and labor to fix what had been done. So that definitely is not recommended if you're trying to just have it out there and ready. It's much better, and that's what the SFX Mini was designed for, is to quickly copy over a D7.2 executable to get it up and running and set up with your configs that you have saved in the cloud, and then start working with it from there. So Jay Chamberlain, if you are using it in a different light than that, or anything to that effect, let us know. Or if it's not what you're talking about, or something else going on, like you use SFX Mini and you set it up and it's just not launching for some reason. If that's the case, then trying the holding down control when you launch it to make sure, or to try to get it to launch into safe mode, that could be something that would be a solution for that. But past that, it would kind of be more about I guess your overall process. So if you can explain that a little bit more, then we'll get into that. Otherwise, let me just read over and catch up on the chat here. Beavis, I am not sure how much food and drink Proctor has taken in, but he's probably going to work it off later, because he does a lot of workouts now. I'm sure
you work out like every day.
He does. I don't know about the weekends, but your mic's above your head.
4 to 6 days.
Mic's above your head.
I work out 4 to 6 days a week.
Wow, that's impressive. So yeah, he can eat whatever he wants now, apparently.
No.
But also, I
probably could have made a healthier choice, but it sure was yummy.
There is a decryptor for Cerber. So guys, particularly people watching tickets and stuff like that, keep that in mind, and you can get the details over there on the link that Phoenix provided.
Mm-hmm. That is nice. And yeah, that Phoenix and Mike, that could be interpreted as a compliment. Our products are like Windows 10 insider builds.
Oh.
Hey, I ran the insider builds on my production machine, so, and what Mike pointed out was that they have 400 plus people working on their code. We have less than 3 working on ours. So,
okay, you going back, repeating those links, Phoenix. There. I hate the layoff news. I already told you that, Phoenix. I hate tech layoff news. I know it's relevant, but it's depressing, obviously.
Beavis, if you did that and hacked into Nick's PC and stole the code, then yes, we would qualify you for support. We would actually probably pay you for support on how to prevent that from happening again, actually. So,
yeah, good luck with Mr. Paranoia up there. I thought I was bad sometimes, but he is good with security.
Well, his paranoia is usually more
legitimate.
Yeah. Not the, oh my gosh, they know what town I live in. Although, actually, Johnny can't make it right now, but it was an interesting thing. So this is related to the internet security and privacy and things like that, but we were coming out of Walmart, and Johnny found a Bank of America credit card laying on the ground. And she was like, what should I do with it? And I was like, well, I guess take it back into Walmart. And she was like, well, shouldn't we just take it back to Bank of America? I was like, all right, yeah, I guess we can do that. So we we're on our way to do that. And while we're doing it, she starts looking up this person online. She's like, oh, I found out where they live. I found out their phone number. Here, I can try calling them. And the 2 phone numbers that she found weren't correct, but it did have their address and Facebook, and everything was fairly easily located on that method. So
now think about that, folks. If you were a bad player in this case,
yeah, we just found out your billing address and contact number, and I'm sure it wouldn't be that much harder to find out some of your likes and dislikes off of Facebook. So that's a lot of
your pet's name, possibly a lot of things you could be using as security questions, with, so if somebody called up, they might be able to pass themselves off.
Yeah, and that's not even, she didn't have to do anything illegal to get any of that info. It's all publicly available. So doing a search on yourself every now and then is highly recommended to see what comes back, and using an incognito browser to try to see if any of your stuff is open and available for access that you don't want out there and can change is highly, highly recommended. So I think my headset's about to die. I think that's about it, other than the compliments and things we got, and again, appreciate that. And we weren't really beating ourselves up over this. It was just we wanted to make sure we cleared the air and made sure we had a reason that we weren't posting the show yesterday, but getting those points across that we felt were relevant for others.
Oh, our smartphones replacing pimps. That's an interesting story. Much happier to talk about. But yeah, we try to keep it. We're going to try to keep it lighthearted, not too heavy. Cool. What's this Proctor's talking about? Not having forgotten. What's an AC password? AC?
Asheron's Call, the game.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what you talking about. Okay, so anything else? Did we sufficiently address Mr. Chamberlain?
Let's see. I didn't see if he had anything
Mrs. Chamberlain
come up. I believe we determined it was a Mr. last time you messed that up. So,
okay.
That's
right. Yeah, I remember now.
So they did respond there. They're going to try using the mini and see how that works. They were essentially looking to run D7.2 as a first-time scan before they installed the antivirus and various things of that nature, which isn't a bad idea. I mean, most of your repair and maintenance stuff you can run without any worries about. I probably would say only pick 1 or 2 antivirus and anti-malware things to run on it beforehand, but usually
just because you don't want to slow yourself down.
Yeah, you're spending a lot of time scanning with those, and you would basically be wasting it. If 1 or 2 doesn't come back with anything, I would say just move on to the maintenance and Windows repair stuff that you can pretty much run anytime, no matter what, and it's not going to hurt anything. It's only going to improve, and then do the rest of your stuff going from there. But yeah, try out the SFX Mini and keep in mind that it's not a tool for deployment like that right now. It's more of a tool for active technician looking at a computer and working with it, and it's perfect for that case of your first check over a computer before you go through. You can pull all the diagnostic reports and info reports and things like that and have them stored in Kaseya, so you can have them easily accessed or whatever you use for your customer management side. But yeah, I wouldn't waste too much time on fully scanning it with all the malware and virus stuff first. I would do repair and then maintenance and then move on. But otherwise, Phoenix had posted that link about the Citrix people, and let me look over some of his other links here. But that one was one that I really wanted to point out here because Cisco just laid off 14,000 people. And I want to say it was like 20% of their global workforce from the article that I was reading. So yeah, that's a large number, and considering how much Cisco does and how much people tout a Cisco networking thing, might be kind of scary for that. Like, especially if you just went through all that certification and paid for it, and they're having to downsize their workforce of that nature. It does not bode well for their future, it seems. This was an interesting link as well, the NSA hack and what came from it. If you didn't know, over last weekend, the NSA had a bunch of new documents leaked and pointed out some new tools and things that they use that hadn't been previously disclosed. So from what I was understanding, the leak there was actually as bad, if not worse, than the Snowden link. So let's see if we make anything else that's really worth it here. We talked about the Cerber Decryptor. That's a good one. Oh yeah, just to throw out there too, the NSA leak had a ton of malware that apparently the NSA uses. So you might be interested to check that out.
Yeah, well, you know, this
there's like over 20 different malware samples to download and use.
Yeah, big on that. You know, it makes you wonder sometimes. You know, how we see so much malware out there, and you know, where is it? You know, is it always coming from other?
Where is it actually coming from?
Yeah,
sponsored or not? Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you know, these people in the group that they're talking about, you know, that are, you know, are these trustworthy people? You know, not all hackers, in my opinion, are absolutely trustworthy. I believe a lot of them are, and certainly can be, but you know, there's white, there's black, and there's everything in between. You know, hacking. You know, white hat, black hat, and everything in between. So I just have yeah, I have concerns about that.
Yeah, it definitely is worrisome, and I honestly think that these leaks kind of show that we need more transparency in our government and things like that. I mean, I don't think many people would approve. I mean,
like,
already Mike Inbox is like, what? Our government is using malware? That's ridiculous.
Did you see the Stingray story? So in Maryland, there, I think it was the Supreme Court in Maryland ruled that you can't use a Stingray without a warrant. You know, and that's the whole problem with Stingrays, is that they're used exclusively without warrants at all. And they're taking the PD in this case. I got to find the links, but it looks like they're being sued as a result of what that court ruling, and it'll be interesting to see if that might set a precedent. I think, if I'm not mistaken. Am I mistaken in what I'm communicating? I don't think so.
No, it was actually, there was two different police forces that are facing fire for that. The other one, I think, was whichever protest happened in Minnesota. Apparently, they're being under fire for people claim they shut off internet access during that protest, which that's crazy as well.
Yeah, this is the Baltimore police. So it's they're calling it interfering with emergency calls, and it's racially discriminatory. And this is a link to the ruling.
Maybe it was Milwaukee. Yeah, I think you're right, Beavis. Milwaukee might have been
for Stingrays.
Yeah, Milwaukee.
But you know, I just thought that you know, again, accountability. You know, should law enforcement be able to break the law to enforce the law? You know, lots of questions. I'm not saying I know the answers to all these questions, and you know, especially in the case of our ability to investigate terrorism and other things, obviously we have to draw a balance that allows our respective law enforcement agencies to do the work that they need to do. But it can't be all kept in the dark. We have to know where it stands, and certainly there seems to be a big discrepancy in whether or not this is allowed, and a big question, and the courts seemingly siding, at least in this case, with most of the privacy people.
Yep, let's hope for going forward it stays on that side. The other really interesting link, which I'd also noticed I haven't had a chance to look into, and it doesn't look like you did either, Michael, but the new Windows 10 user account control.
Yeah, I did look into it actually, and I had posted, I don't know if you go back far enough, but I had posted a bit about that. The thing is that the person has to have already compromised your computer to take advantage of this. Okay, so I don't really think that it's that big of a deal, and I can sort of understand why Microsoft is essentially
not that hard
ignoring the issue. I know it's unique, this thing, in that it doesn't require a lot of it doesn't have the requirements of even having code being dropped onto the computer. So you know, it can just be done from the machine itself without changing any of the files. You know, so that's an issue. But again, I really think if you've already been compromised, if the attacker's already gotten control of your system,
well,
you know,
knowing of toolkits like Metasploit and the social engineering toolkit, compromising a computer initially to get to a point where you need to work around.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is not difficult at all. If you
I guess
systems regularly, you might have a chance, but even then, there's still exploits.
Okay. I also posted a workaround for it. There's actually well-documented ways to completely mitigate the attack, and they're incredibly simple to do. Let me see if I can find where I wrote that, because that's worth reposting. So this is a quote from the article that I'm going to copy this right so I don't paste our whole chat in, but there we go. That's the quote with the fix. And where did I post the link? Oh, no, the link was just what Phoenix's original link to it.
Mike Envise, on your thing there, I feel like I agree. And even further, where Michael was saying there needed to be a line drawn between transparency and the fight against terrorism. I honestly don't think there needs to be that line. I think we have the right to know everything that they're doing. The terrorists will know about it, but how are the terrorists going to stop things like avoiding Stingray? They're going to stop using cell phone communication. That just makes their lives harder. I mean, I think it's something that would improve not only our trust in the government and their abilities, but also would make things innately more difficult because now they know what they have to look out for and avoid and things like that. But I guess that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but having everything out there, it's identity information, just like you're talking about having all that person's information with the credit card. You know, having a operatives, let's say, name and having other information, personal information about them being available to the public, you know, could put them at risk, could put people's lives at risk, and that's usually the big one that comes up as
a lot of
that. But I don't think that some of the stuff that you're talking about involves sharing that information.
A lot of the stuff that would, yeah, no, it wouldn't do that.
Identity of anyone.
On that point, a lot of that stuff is not known and would put them in danger because we shouldn't be there in the first place. So,
well, I mean,
it's
hard.
Side,
yeah, I can't.
Like, there's
to make the argument from both sides on this.
I just watched a movie, Battleground Day, I think it was, based on the French Independence Day. But in that, they had the U.S. government couldn't help the French government on a terrorist attack because they were doing surveillance and monitoring illegally in France. So they knew the identity and were going after the suspected terrorists, but they couldn't tell France about it because how they got that information, they shouldn't even been there in the first place. So that, I think, it displays the controversy of that. So,
did you catch this little deal here? I mean, first of all, is this commonplace?
Yeah, that's how. I mean, that's bloatware for phones, and apparently they're trying to do more. So
it's a big, it's
Verizon's already the worst about having bloatware on their phone.
Yeah, they're already bad. I can't imagine they could get much worse, but apparently.
That's one of the reasons I hate that my S7 is boot locked, so that I can't put a new image on there without all that bloatware.
Yeah, let's see what we can do to crack that.
I thought this was pretty interesting, and I think Microsoft finally realizes what I've been saying all along, that there's no reason to have a single-purpose console when you can just have a full-featured computer. Microsoft is saying that the Xbox One S and the Project Scorpion might be their last console generation. So that could
I don't know.
Continue to update it.
Are you interpreting that right? Because I judged it to be a platform that they will continue to update, and it's like the Windows 10 concept. If you can run Windows 10, you can run all Windows 10 apps. So, you know.
I feel like they will continue to update it for a while, but I feel like that if they're not going to make any new ones, that they're not going to be competing with the other consoles, which would leave it open for them to just come out with their own general purpose hardware. And Xbox is already being heavily integrated into Windows 10. It actually runs Windows 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the fact that it's integrated into Windows 10 and they're focusing on that, I feel like they're going to be bringing that to PC. So your Xbox games, maybe someday you'll be able to play on just your PC. I mean, that would be awesome. in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. I want to call this tentative, but definitely something interesting is going on with the back and forth in that, and it'll be interesting to see how the actual Get Current gamers are going to adjust to that. The ones that are still, hooked on the consoles. So here's a weird twist. That article seems to imply that Intel's going to be making ARM chips at their foundries. They have a licensing agreement to do that. Wow, that's crazy. That's how great ARM is, and I mean the people that own those licenses must be rolling in money right now, getting those licensing fees from that design.
There's actually a lot of good stuff coming out of the Intel demo thing that's going on right now.
Oh, is that why there's a lot of Intel news? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like this one, for example. Intel is releasing a ready-to-fly drone for software developers. Interesting concepts can come from that, I believe. Then they had something else. See if I can find it. They got a new VR thing coming out. Yep, here we go. One of the biggest issues I have with Vive and Oculus Rift right now are that they have those cords that you have to attach to your computer, so you're tethered to a computer. I mean, we saw that backpack VR system that would make that easier, but still, why would you want to put your computer on your back? Intel is coming out with a VR headset that's cord-free, so everything is integrated. I think that'll be awesome. And on that same note, it looks like Microsoft Windows 10 PCs will all support HoloLens by next year. So you can check that out. Let me get the actual good link for that. Oh. So there we go for that. I'm really, the HoloLens is probably the one I'm most excited about. I prefer augmented reality over full immersion VR, and I would much rather have a HoloLens, but I don't have $3,000 to drop on the developer edition, and it sounds like it'll probably be better to wait for till later anyway. So. Ooh, a new series, Runaways, Marvel. Apparently that's becoming very popular on Hulu, just in time for Hulu to stop offering you free looks at it. I got something else here too. Has anyone heard of Iridium?
The satellite
browser? Nope. The privacy-focused Chromium-based browser.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What about it?
Have you heard of it? Have you used it?
It rings a bell, but no, I haven't.
Oh, there's a review on it if you want to check it out. So Jay Chamberlain has another question here.
And it's based on Chrome, is it not?
Yep.
Yeah.
Chromium, but.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Jay Chamberlain has a question here. Company paid for D72. Does that come with tech training or anything along those lines? Every subscription in D72 comes with the DMZ starter, and you have over 2 hours worth of training content on there, which basically goes through and describes all of the ins and outs and features of that. And let's see if I can get a link to that page for you. We do provide additional training and support, but it varies and depends on how you're accessing that. You can get a higher level of DMZ, which comes with some training time and support included, or you can purchase it directly for that. Depending on what you're looking to do, we can offer it for free on other sides. Like if you want to see how to do something here, we'll be more than happy to do that on the show and try to show you those. Some things we may need a little bit advance notice for, so we may have to say we'll do it tomorrow or a upcoming show. But past that, we'd be more than happy to spend the time talking about that. I'm getting the link for the video logins. Pretty much if you sign into the DMZ on our site, it will take you directly there, but I'll get you the direct link there.
Okay, I'm gonna quote. This is a quote from. I guess this is one of Slashdot's readers. They put this at the end of the story about the NSA toolkit leak, but the irony. Yeah, I want people to understand the irony. They're all apparently it's really chilled the agency as far as their and I'm using some of their words, but it's really made them question the scope of the and worry about what's been exposed because everyone's confirming it now, pretty much like all the stories we just talked about. So anyway, sorry to break off on that, but I just that was funny when I read it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I believe Jay Chamberlain has an open ticket concerning D72. You submitted a couple of screenshots of Herd Protect? Are you trying to? Are you asking how to proceed? It's marked a Windows file as possibly infected. I don't know what his question is.
Yeah, we were a little.
We had talked to him on the show previously about that, and he was saying Vera had flagged one of the files as infected, and it could have been that the virus that he infected it with, and I think he was just sending us some shots to show us what was.
Yeah, because I tested and Herd Protect seemed to be function normally from within D7.2. So we could probably close that issue as long as he's okay with that.
Yeah, what we found was that DLL file that was getting flagged there is actually one that's commonly used by Windows and included with Windows. So if it's getting flagged, it was possibly infected or changed by the malware that you installed on there, and that's why it was closing. And since D7.2 uses some of those features that are in that DLL, if it was getting deleted by Herd Protect, then D7.2 would crash after that. So yeah, so it looks like that DLL was infected during that process, and that is just a side effect. So basically the Windows file having been broken is a
Proctor. Chamberlain confirms that you can go ahead and close it. And
cool.
We do want to document it based upon what we just said and Brantley said.
Not a feature or a bug. It's a issue with how Windows in general works with software. I feel, Beavis, but I guess you could look at it that way. You know what you're saying by that saying.
The beauty of perspective is that it's probably it's as different as each person is.
So also, Jay Chamberlain, a lot of the videos for D7.2 we have on our YouTube playlist there for D7.2 overview, and as we cover it in shows, if we spend a lot of time on D7.2, I'll add it to that, so you can see the 14 down on that is all these shows, where we've talked about it and focused on various aspects of it. So definitely check out that playlist too. But I would focus on the DMZ ones first, because in that, the quick training that we go over there I spent a good time fully detailing how to go over most every feature in D7.2 and use it, and suggestions and things like that. Plus you also have some quick tips that you have access to and things like that. So definitely check that one out first, and then if you get your fill there, head on over to that YouTube playlist and you can get a lot more content. So like live virus removals and things like that we've done on the show.
Nice.
But we are way past our hour time limit for today. So,
oh, are we?
Real quick.
I just wanted to point out that, and I know I talked a lot about NVIDIA news, and I'm really not an NVIDIA fanboy, but they have been having some great product announcements recently. And so this is the first review of their mobile parts for the new generation. And
yeah, I was excited about that.
Yeah,
their mobile cards are full desktop cards now.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't think that that's really ever happened before, and I'm looking at it, and they did some interesting things.
Interested to see how power is going to play out on it.
Well, yeah, the battery life might be an issue, but they made them very power efficient. Now, it looks like the performance boost is equivalent. You're seeing a not quite triple, but more than double. 2.5 times maybe performance boost over the previous mobile parts. I mean, that's huge boost. That's huge.
Well, I have a mobile 970 in my Asus laptop. And
oh, really? That's in the comparison. If you look at these numbers, like for instance in Steam's
honestly, that already performs really well.
So that gets a 4.1 in Steam's VR test. The 1070 version, which is the next, which is basically the new generation, is 10.2.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, VR is a completely different beast. I'm just talking about I've been able to play games on my laptop without any issues. So.
Yeah, it's in some game like Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, double performance.
I will test that, Beavis. I want to see if No Man's Sky will play on my laptop. That will be interesting. Although I don't need any more reason to play that game.
Okay.
I love playing it already, so my desktop's fine.
Tomb Raider, there's almost a 3 times, or not quite.
Okay, they can read the article. I do want to mention something else that was interesting today, because this happened to me and a problem that might affect everyone out here or involved. So on my system right now, I have my video card supporting 4 monitors, and then I have 2 monitors attached with USB. Glad you're here, Beavis. I want to tell you my monitor system's better than yours now. But otherwise, I went through and upgraded the NVIDIA graphics card driver last night, because they said they came out with stuff specifically for No Man's Sky in that update. So I was like, awesome, make this game even better. And went through the update, and once my system rebooted, my 2 trigger USB adapters did not recognize my displays anymore. They recognized in the device manager, but they would not actually display, or Windows would not recognize them as being attached to the display. So I went through, tried removing them and reinstalling them, and then completely removing them and then reinstalling them, and it comes with software, so I had to do that side as well. Tried looking at the software provided by the company that makes them, which is actually like 10 versions behind the software that Microsoft provides when it detects them, so not quite sure what's going on there. But anyway, I couldn't get it to work, right? So I'm either going to be down 2 monitors and have an upgraded graphics card, or have to go back on my graphics card. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll just go back on my graphics card. Not that big a deal. No Man's Sky was playing fine for me. I didn't have any graphics issues, so I'll go back. Well, I first go into Windows 10 settings and try the restore PC, because I'm thinking they got to have some easy way to go back just to the prior software install or whatever, like you would expect. But no, if you want to reset your PC with Windows 10 built-in functionality, you're going to be doing basically a wipe and reload, and the only thing it keeps is your Windows 10 store apps. So all of your other apps you have to reinstall. Basically a format and reload to me. I did not want to do that, so I ended up going through and looking for system restore, because that was what I was looking for. That was the functionality that I wanted. And come to find out, thankfully my system restore was turned on, which I have seen a lot of Windows 10 PCs not have that turned on. But then also come to find out that it's not making restore points when you install things like drivers or software anymore. The only restore points I had is because I'm using not only the Windows 10 backup, but I'm using the Windows 7 backup as well. The only reason I had any system restore points to restore to is because I was using the Windows 7 backup. So every time the Windows 7 backup runs, it creates an automatic restore point for you. It doesn't if you install software or drivers or anything like that, which completely blows my mind that they're taking that feature away. And I am very upset if they do end up taking that feature away, because System Restore worked perfectly, brought my monitors back, and I'm fine. So why kill off a feature that works so well in those situations and make you reinstall your entire OS and apps and everything? Blows my mind. But good for everyone to note. If you're using Windows 10, use the Windows 7 backup, because that will create your restore points and also ensure that your system restore is turned on for your main hard drive. Those two things are extremely important. So, wow, Beavis is doing nearly 40 server reloads a month and has that process nearly 100% scripted and automated. Awesome job. If you want to provide some of those scripts, I'm sure everybody would love to see them. But otherwise, I think that can wrap up our show for today. Thanks everyone for joining us and going through the little bit of, I guess you all said drama there, so we'll claim it as that. But just wanted to make sure we got that out there. And again, want to say that we appreciate everyone being here, and it really makes our day to give back to you and provide support in this medium. So thanks everyone, and we will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Take us on out, Proctor.
All right.
Holly.